Hello once again, friends, and welcome to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. On this channel, we spend our time analyzing fantasy of all types. Characters from video games, movies, books, and specifically, we spend our time taking these characters and implementing them into the tabletop game that is Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Today we're actually going to be looking at a mechanic that exists within Dungeons & Dragons itself. Specifically, the subclass known as the College of Valor Bard. The College of Valor Bard is one of the subclasses for the Bardic class that really powers up the Bard in a combat-oriented sense, making them a frontline fighter and one of the toughest bards you can have. The Bard gains their skills at level 3, level 6, and level 14, at least in regards to their subclass. This already buffs the stacked Bardic class, and we need to take a look at how the Valor Bard's skills stack up, and how they add to the Bard as a whole. So let's have a look. At level 3, the Valor Bard gains 2 different abilities. First of all is bonus proficiencies. These proficiencies specifically give the Bard proficiency in medium armor, weapons, all weapons, and shields, giving them a huge amount of versatility when it comes to combat, allowing them to buff up their strength, their armor, and their damage with pretty much whatever armor and weapon they want, except for heavy armor. The combat inspiration power also comes online, and this allows them to enhance their bardic inspiration to their allies. Normally, bardic inspiration enhances ability checks, but in this particular case, it actually allows them to enhance either their damage rolls or their AC, a very hard thing to buff in D&D. Next, at level 6, the Bard gains the extra attack power, a standard thing that many other classes get, and is never a bad thing in combat. And then finally, at level 14, they gain the Battle Magic ability. This allows them, if they use a Bard spell as their main action, to attack as a bonus action. This extra attack actually does not trigger the normal extra attack power and is a single attack that's linked to their spell, but it's still a nice amount of damage which can work with any weapon that a Bard chooses to use. So let's have a look. The bonus proficiencies essential for a combat class. Medium armor, shields, and all martial weapons. You can't go wrong with that. Like, obviously it would be great if they got heavy armor as well, but we can't really ask that much of a Bard, so a 9 out of 10 is a solid thing for these bonus proficiencies in my book. The combat inspiration? Oh man. Buffing AC is one of my favorite things in D&D, since it's so hard to do. And buffing damage? Also great, especially when you're dealing with high damage dealers, such as fighters and barbarians and rangers. A good 10 out of 10 for the combat inspiration, really giving the bardic inspiration that extra nudge into the top class that it needs to be. Next, extra attack. You can't go wrong here. Extra attack is always good. Every class that gets it appreciates it, and since the Valor Bard is going to be frontline fighting, they're going to use the extra attack all the time. 10 out of 10 for this one. Finally, the Battle Magic power. Weaponizing your bonus action, never a bad thing, especially when you can use it with any weapon and any attack. And then being able to combine the spells that the Bard vastly gains through its magical secrets and its bardic spell list in general, and then being able to continue using weapons, very, very handy skill, and an 8 out of 10 from me. When you combine all these together, the Valor Bard ends up with a 9 out of 10. It really, really buffs up what the Bard can do in combat with its inspiration, and it doesn't take anything away from its magical abilities. The Valor Bard is a solid class for pretty much anyone who wants to get stuck into combat, and I highly recommend it to anyone. Thank you for listening. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you liked the video, go ahead, like and subscribe, and if you really enjoy D&D, come on back. I'm going to be uploading videos on a regular basis, covering fantasy review implementation from other mediums, and more analysis of D&D itself. Excuse me. Have a good one, friends.